If you're looking for some straight up marketing advice that's super chilled and also a bit of a laugh, then grab yourself a drink and get ready for Marketing and Margaritas, a podcast that makes marketing entertaining. Brought to you by Rebel Nation, direct from regional Queensland.
Hello and welcome to episode 128 of Marketing Margaritas. And today I'm going to be going through with you how to set up a marketing campaign. So planning out a marketing campaign is something I think anyone can do, including you, with some thought and effort. It obviously does take some creativity and a bit of knowledge on what to do, which we're going to go through. But if you let yourself have a go, you'll find that you're probably more creative than you thought. And the more that you do this type of thing, like planning out your marketing and actually thinking through the strategy before you take action, the better at it you'll get. It's like anything in life. If you don't give yourself the opportunity to have a go, you're never going to get good. And the first time we do anything, there's not often we do something for the first time and we're amazing at it. You know what I mean? So you've got to keep having a go, keep trying so that you can improve those skills. So a marketing campaign is essentially a plan. And why do we plan? Because our resources are precious and we want to use the time and money we put into a campaign as effectively as possible. Also, plans can make it so much easier to make decisions. So when other ideas or opportunities pop up, we can review our plan to see if it's worth updating or changing, or whether to stick with what we already had. A practical example of this, you're wanting to increase your email database. So the campaign you're doing is that you're running a competition for XYZ and you see a special for TV advertising. So talking to your local TV rep and they're like, oh yeah, we have this great package at the moment. Or, Google sends through one of their emails and they're like, hey, here's a free $250 credit to use on Google Ads. And you're like, oh shit, I've got that campaign. Oh, but should I be doing Google Ads? Should I be doing TV advertising for it? Consult your plan and it will tell you whether that marketing channel or that new opportunity is a good fit. And I'll tell you a bit more about that soon, but I'm just trying to explain first off why it's important to actually make that plan in the first place. So today we're going to go through what steps to take to plan out your campaign. Firstly, I want to go through, itchy nose. What's the difference between a marketing strategy and a marketing campaign? So in my opinion, a marketing strategy is for your whole business. So it's researching and reviewing and planning an overarching strategy that informs all of your marketing activity. And it's normally over like a 6 to 12 month period. A marketing campaign is for one very specific objective, and marketing campaigns are normally embedded in your overarching marketing strategy. So for example, my strategy for the year might include doing our podcast, sending out our e-newsletter regularly, etc. But then when I've got a campaign, for example, launching a new product, like we're about to launch our founding membership, then I'm going to utilize those channels and use other things as well for this specific campaign. So some other examples of campaign objectives could be, like I said, launching a new product, promoting a current product. So you might want to spotlight a particular service or product, putting together a special offer. You might have an event that you're running, reaching out to a new audience. So you can do a campaign where you're like, okay, recruitment's a really good example. You might be like, right, we're finding it really difficult to find experienced talent. So we're going to do an apprenticeship plan. Do an apprenticeship program, and we need a marketing campaign to promote that apprenticeship campaign. And so we're going to go and find, it's reaching out to a new audience that we haven't really gone after before. So it's just the one objective. I think some other example, like real life examples to make it a little bit easier, is like when Macca's do their Monopoly promotion. So you'll see Macca's advertising like all the time. Well, I do. But when they do that Monopoly game one, that's a specific campaign. It only lasts for a certain period of time. And, obviously their objective in that is to increase sales during that time that the campaign is on or the promotion's on. Doc Martens, when they bring out a new colour, The To Australia from Mailchimp campaign. If anyone saw that, Mailchimp is an email marketing program, and they did this really cool, like across billboards and all this kind of stuff. It was To Australia from Mailchimp, just as a branding awareness campaign. It was really good. Another really notable campaign, which love it or hate it, it was very effective, was the Barbie movie. It's getting a bit old now, but when they were in the lead up to that movie coming out, the campaign around it, and especially how they were using socials and stuff, like from a marketing perspective, it was, they did a fantastic job. So each of those campaigns had a single objective with a coordinated effort to achieve that objective. They didn't just go, we want this movie to do really well. We'll just do a bunch of random stuff that I've just, put a list together for. Like, they put together a campaign. They thought it out. Now, we don't have their budgets. Well, I know I sure don't. But we can follow the same steps for how they put together campaigns. Now, obviously, there are a lot more advanced and lots more intricate technical things that you can do, but I'm going to take you through today the basics of how to set up that marketing campaign plan yourself so that you can actually get started doing it. Okay, first up is one of my favorite topics is goal setting. I didn't even make Josh laugh then. God damn, I'm bombing today. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Pity laugh now. Yeah. Okay, so every marketing activity, whether it's a campaign, a full strategy, or even just writing a social media post, should cover off on the marketing trifecta. The first of that is, what's the goal? The second thing is, who do you need to target to achieve that goal? And then thirdly is, what do you need to tell those people to achieve that goal? So that's our little triumvirate. So let's break down the first one, about what that goal is. So for a marketing campaign, this should be pretty straightforward. I know for some people, goal setting can be a bit difficult, but with a marketing campaign, the whole reason you're putting the campaign together is because you're trying to achieve a specific objective. So, for example, if you're launching a new product, then you want to get awareness for your product. No, you don't. I mean, well, sort of no. So yes, you do need awareness. So because, if people don't know about that product, they can't buy it, but that's not the ultimate goal. So something that people get caught up in a lot, and I get a lot of people when they first come to us saying this, is that, we just want to get some awareness. We just want to get our name out there. And I'm all like, that's cool, but once people know who you are, then is that all you want? Like, you're happy with that? You just want people to go, oh yeah, I've heard of XYZ. So anyway, no, you want them to take action. So for a new product, our goal would be to get XX sales, whether that's a quantity or a dollar figure, depending on what the product is. And yes, I recommend setting yourself a specific goal. It honestly makes life so much easier. If you've been in business for a while, look at the last time you did something like this and set a goal from there. If you're new to it, make an educated guess, because at the end of the day, it kind of almost doesn't actually matter what your goal is, which I know sounds weird, but just bear with me. It doesn't kind of matter what you set as that specific amount, because the main point of having that specific number is that you can then use it as a benchmark for future campaigns. So if you're just starting to do campaigns and you're like, okay, we're going to be launching this and I want to get $2,000 in sales, yes, you can make, okay, the product's about $200 and you can sort of work out what you want. That's probably a pretty bad target, but you know what I mean? You can make a little bit of educated guess to get there, but don't stress so much and spend a lot of time here trying to get a perfect number, because it's more about, when you set that number, then the next time you do a campaign, you can look back and go, oh, that was completely unrealistic, or wow, we overshot that a lot. So it starts to actually help you make more informed strategic decisions and planning in the future. So when you're first starting, just don't freak out about what the number is, just set the number. It's basically, until you start setting the number, you're never going to get good at working out what the numbers are until you actually start setting number goals. So first up, we set our specific goal. Next, we look at who will help us to achieve our goal. Now, this is not always the same target audiences who you regularly target for your business. For example, taking back to what I said before with the apprenticeship program, if you've never had apprentices before, then you're not just going to be targeting, the clients who you get work from and the other people that you normally recruit. You could be, talking to a whole brand new audience. So you need to think about who your target audience is in relation to that specific campaign goal. And so again, for another example, if you were Macca's and you were launching a new kids thing, the McHappy Meal, is that what it is? McHappy Meal? Yeah, cool. So you're launching a new McHappy Meal toy. And are you going to target everyone who eats Macca's? No, because, for example, I could not care less about McHappy Meals. So spending time and money to reach me is useless, even though I am actually a Macca's customer. So your product is for kids, but they don't have the monies. So you actually want to target the people who buy food for kids. So their parents, grandparents, older siblings, other carers, etc. But you also do want to target the kids because they will annoy their caregiver for the food. Except you probably don't want to target kids because you're an upstanding citizen and targeting kids for marketing feels kind of shitty. So that one's a bit convoluted, but what I'm saying is figuring out who your audience is for that particular campaign goal is essential. Once you have that, then you can get into more technical stuff like market research and customer personas and all that kind of thing. But if this is your first campaign, let's just settle with knowing who we are targeting and having a little think about it from their perspective. So, where is it that they're already hanging out when it comes to like their everyday activities in terms of marketing channels? I don't mean like where do they actually physically hand out? Although sometimes that actually is useful. So, for example, if you're going to be holding a local event and you go, okay, people who go to events are potentially also people who will go to like coffee shops and stuff. So we're going to go and put posters in local eateries and coffee shops because that's where our target audience will be hanging out. Maybe they're Facebook users or they read the paper, or maybe they're always at the local shopping centre most weekends. So, you could consider doing a pop-up shop to put yourself right in their path sort of thing. So just think about where they are, but also think about where they would go to find out more about the item that you're offering. So for example, if I'm selling Macca's, then I could probably advertise basically anywhere. Like Macca's has such a wide clientele, there's probably really nowhere that I wouldn't be able to advertise. But if I've got a promotion, for example, say I've got an electrical business and I'm going to be offering this new thermal imaging service for mining companies, there will be people who are specifically looking for that service. Then how would they go about that? So there is, trying to reach those people where they hang out normally, but also where would they go to actually find out about information on that product or service? If it was thermal imaging, I'm assuming that they would probably be asking others for recommendations, Googling different providers, and then checking out the websites for anyone who claims to do it in their area. So it starts to show you how some ideas for what marketing channels could be useful to reach your audience by looking at, like I said, both where they hang out regularly, but also where they go to find out info about what you have to offer. Then we need to figure out what we need to tell those people to get them to help us achieve our objective or our goal. So for a campaign, this is often a tagline / slogan. So for example, you've got L'Oreal's "Because You're Worth It" or Cancer Council's "Slip, Slop, Slap." Now the L'Oreal peeps, their goal would be to sell products. And they would be mostly aiming at females, but their key message isn't "Buy L'Oreal," because that's not interesting in the slightest. So instead, they've gone with the "because you're worth it," because they're trying to tap into that self-worth in a woman and say, you should buy this because you deserve it. Not because we want to sell products, but because you deserve to treat yourself sort of thing, or take care of yourself. So they're really thinking about what message they need to tell their target audience to help them achieve their objective. And that's not just saying, buy our products. Same with Cancer Council, sorry. So their objective is to get us to use sun protection, but their key message, I'm very stumbly today. Their key message isn't put some sunscreen on so you don't get cancerous crap all over you. A slogan is often something that's catchy, memorable, something that resonates with your target market. So they've gone for that, slip, slop, slap as a way of, I think it's like slip on a shirt, slap on slap on a hat and slap on some sunscreen. Or, God, that shows you. No, their marketing is good. That's not on them. That's on me that I don't remember it. But, they're trying to get us to take those steps. So they've put it together in a short little catchy slip, slop, slap and done a lot of promotion around it. That's quite an old campaign, it's a long time ago. But to get us to take those actions. They didn't just say, if you don't put on sunscreen, you're going to get cancer and that's horrible. And you know what I mean? Like they're trying to appeal to us and make it catchy and memorable so that we remember to do it. Now, a pro tip here is that market research is super useful. You don't need to go on your gut alone when it comes to figuring out whether the slogan or whatever you've put together is actually going to appeal to your target market. So when you actually set up your campaign concept, testing it on real life people from your target audience is something anyone can do. You don't need, a marketing agency or anything. You can actually do this. The operative words here, though, are to actually test the concept with your target audience. So if you're targeting small business owners and you ask your husband, who's like a council worker, for example, whether or not he likes something, it's not that his opinion isn't valid. It's just that he's only making assumptions about the target market the same as you are. Like if he's not a small business owner, he's not going to know any better. Once you get your campaign concept together, actually find people in your target market, run it by them and see what they say, that feedback, at this stage before you actually put the effort into creating all of your campaign materials and spending money, etc., on advertising, getting just that little bit of back of a feedback loop now could save you so much in the future. Okay, so next we moved on to the activities. Once you have your trifecta in place, your goal, your target market, and your key messages, then it's looking for what marketing channels will fit the three of them. If you're not sure what marketing channels are available, then just Google list of marketing channels available to small businesses and see what comes up. You're never going to get a perfect, exhaustive list. Like it's just that because no such thing exists really. Putting together your activity plan can take some time and effort if you have no marketing experience because you may not know what is out there or what things mean, but the only way to get that experience is to get started. Okay, so you want channels that will match your goal and your audience and your messaging. For example, you could be having an event and so your goal is that you want to sell tickets and you're going to be targeting, people who are say 25 to 50 years old in the geographic location of where the event is. So, if I'm holding an event in Mackay, that is for locals, etc. There's a good chance I'm not going to be advertising it in India, for example. Because it's an event, I'm thinking it's going to be people who enjoy going out for entertainment, because, if they enjoy going out to events, chances are they're actually going out and doing other things in the local area as well. So you might think, maybe I should look into cinema advertising. So they're probably going out to the movies. I'll put an ad up on the big screen. Except your main message for this campaign is to buy tickets. And people tend to forget cinema ads once they watch the movie. So I don't know about you, but you go to the cinemas and you have the ads and the previews and then you have the movie. By the time you get to the end of the movie, you've forgotten half the previews, let alone whatever the ads were. Cinema ads can be very useful for some things, but for something like this, it might not be a good fit. And then you're like, okay, well, what about if I put a QR code on the screen that everyone's sitting in the cinema, they've got their phones there during the ads, they could scan the code and buy tickets on the spot. Except that's not the purchasing behavior for tickets most often. When people see an event that they want to go to, first of all, they'll do things like check their calendar, and maybe they'll check with their friends or their partner, or, they might be like, oh, my mum would love that. They don't just buy the tickets. They go have a look at their diary, make sure they're available. Then they talk to their mum, make sure she's interested, and then that she's available, and then go buy the tickets. So it's not something where you just go, oh, yep, that looks good, bing, purchased. So, booking tickets is not an instant action kind of campaign. Therefore, I would say cinema advertising is probably not the right fit here. But for something like that, you probably would want to consider digital ads that are delivered, with, say, different types of creative over an extended period on different channels. So you could be looking at YouTube, Meta, etc. You could do something really targeted. And you want something so that like it goes out at the start and then they go, oh, yep, I know that this is coming. Oh, yep, cool, interesting. I've seen it a few times. Yeah, I do want to go to it. I'll check and see with my mates. Cool. Oh, yep, there's that thing again. That's right. We said we were going to do that. I need to confirm with everyone so I can book. You know what I mean? So it takes a while for them to actually get to booking those tickets. So digital ads are something that you can have kind of running along in different places, and like I said, with different creatives. So you might have, like it might be a video ad, and then some of them might just be a single image. And then right at the end, the last couple of weeks, you could have like last chance kind of messaging and stuff. So it's something that can change with you throughout that campaign, to actually, make them aware that it's available, let them have time to consider it, and then get them to actually book in those tickets. Now, just like any marketing activity, you really can't expect one or even two marketing channels to bring in what you need to achieve your goal. So think of your own behavior. Do you just see a Meta ad for XYZ from a company you've never heard of and immediately click through and purchase? Sometimes, but it's super rare. So don't put that pressure and expectation on yourself. It's just not going to happen. What you're looking for is multiple touch points. And you've probably heard this before in marketing, but we want to have multiple, like it's not just multiple channels, but it's also multiple messages. And yeah, like I said, touch points is the best way to describe it, so that your offer becomes familiar to your audience and they have time to consider if it's right, and then give them plenty of clear calls to action, which CTAs, to take the next step that you want. So again, for an event that, if a concert was coming, it was $200 a ticket, unless it's someone I absolutely love, I'm probably not going to buy that same day. That's going to actually, I'm like, oh, should I? Oh, I've got to pay for flights and this. And, I've got to consider it. But you also don't want to leave things too long. If you leave people too long and that consideration fades, then it can just peter out as well. Okay, so from here, it's going to be about plotting those activities out over a certain time frame and putting a budget to it, so you know when things will be coming out and how much it's all going to cost you. You'll then need to create your content and roll it out according to that plan. So for example, if you're planning on having a billboard in your marketing channel mix, then they only start on certain days. You can't necessarily just put a billboard up on a Wednesday. First of all, I think that, most of them only upload on like a Monday, for example, but also they only offer them in certain cycles. So it might not be available until the 12th of August and your campaign starts on the 1st. So first of all, you actually need to know when it can start, and then you actually have a deadline that you're going to have to get them the artwork to them as well. So whatever, you'll have the start date of it, but you'll also have a deadline for when they need your ad so that it'll go up in time. Then obviously your ad placement will be a cost. So this will go into your budget. Plus, if it's a billboard, you're probably going to need a designer, because free design programs like Canva cannot produce artwork big enough for billboards. So in your timeline, you need to put in the deadline for the ad, then the start and finish dates for your billboard booking, and put a price beside it. You'll also need to put in a start time to contact your designer, brief them, get the proof finalized, and get the final artwork set up once you're all happy with it. And all of that needs to happen before the billboard company's deadline. Plus, there'll obviously be a price for that designer too. So And what I'm saying here is that for that one activity, you've got multiple different times to put in there and a couple of different prices as well. So these are things that go into your timeline and your budget. Another example of the timeline, budget, content rollout planning is your socials. So you'll have the start date for when you're going to start posting on your socials, which will probably be the start of the campaign. But you'll also need to plan out your social media content calendar, then create the content. So there might be graphics, videos, writing the post text, etc., and then scheduling it out. Now, that might all be free, so there's no cost to put into the budget, but it still needs to go into the plan as to what's achievable. Because you might be like, this campaign, I'm going to do 5 videos and I'm going to, release them every 2 days and blah, blah, blah. And you've got this idea a week before the campaign starts. Like, it's not feasible. It's not going to happen. So when you're planning things out, it's not just the stuff that has a cost or a set deadline. It's also being realistic about what you want to achieve and what it's going to take to actually, what is it's going to take to actually make that come to life. Sorry, I forgot my train of thought. Another example is that you may, as part of socials, you may want to do 1 Facebook Live a week during your campaign timeframe. I'd be plotting that on your timeline as well. So even though that's something that, actually doing the live just happens in the moment, you might want to do some prep and planning of where you're going to do it and what you're going to say, etc. So, popping those things, those dates and stuff into your timeline means that as you come across stuff, you can just tick it off, as opposed to getting to the day like, oh shit, I was going to do a Facebook Live today and I don't know what I'm saying, and I'm, at home and the freaking dogs are going off and this is not right and I'm not in the right headspace or whatever. So that's a poorly laid plan. Okay, lastly comes the metrics. So this is about reviewing and measuring what you've done so that you can optimize as you go, but also so that if you go to run that exact campaign again, so for example, you may do an advent calendar promotion for every Christmas. A skincare brand that I love used to do an actual advent calendar gift thing every Christmas. It was awesome. Or you might want to run a similar campaign in the future. So for example, if you are launching a product and you're not going to launch that product again, but you're going to launch other products in the future, then this campaign gives you a benchmark to see what you did, how you did it, why you did it, and how it went. And the only way it's going to be useful is if you actually do that last part of reviewing and analyzing how you did. So first up here is recording every result you can, as well as obviously, whether your goal was achieved. So for example, if your goal, we're going back to the event example, I wanted to sell 100 tickets and I sold 120, fantastic. But that's only one measurement. You also want to look at everything else. So what was your social media reach during the campaign? Did you pick up new followers? What were your ad click-throughs? How many opens did you have on your email marketing? If you ran TV or radio, how many spots and dots did you actually get? All that sort of stuff. Then when you run future campaigns, you can see whether you want to tweak or update anything. So last time you may have done 1 email campaign, but that accounted for 50% of your ticket sales. So it's probably a good idea to do some more of that and less of something else that's more expensive and didn't seem to have a lot of impact. So this is how reviewing what you've done can help you make better decisions in the future. I know this is a lot, but honestly, it is doable. You just need to go one step at a time and actually get started. And once you're on your 4th or 5th campaign, you'll honestly be getting such a feel for it. You'll be surprised how much you can learn just by doing. My wrap-up tip here is just reiterating to keep good records. In the sense as well of if you make changes to the plan, or if something doesn't work out like you wanted, finding all the results you can find. Just keep good records of everything you can. So if the plan deviates, you might not have done those 3 Facebook Lives, but instead you did a meta ad, or, whatever things might have changed, and then how each of those things performed, note it all down for yourself, because honestly, it's just going to pay off for you so much in the future. I know that, when you're running a campaign, you get all caught up in it and there's heaps of things happening, et cetera, and it's kind of just such a prime focus. It's so top of mind for you, but then try and remember that 6 months later. And I don't know about you, but for me, I'm I'm pretty sure we did well with that. Did we sell 120 tickets or was it 80 tickets? Just keep records of everything. This is where when you finish a campaign and it's all fresh, a campaign debrief is really useful. You can Google how to do a marketing campaign debrief, or tune into my next episode, episode 129, where I'll give you a much quicker than this episode rundown of how to do the debrief. Talk soon and cheers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Marketing and Margaritas. Find more free marketing tips, tricks and laughs at rebelnation.com.au.